It is 10:07 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is the 25th day of February 2026. This is episode 1265 of Bitcoin, and United States Senator opens a probe on Binance. That's how we're going to start our day today here on the Bitcoin Ad Podcast. It's all the news you could use about Bitcoin and macro around the world with me, your host, David Bennett, here on the Bitcoin Ad Podcast. Check it. The United States Senator has opened a probe on Binance over an alleged $1.7 billion flow to Iranian entities. Let's just go ahead and start it out right now with Oliver Acuna from CoinDesk. Senator Richard Blumenthal, of course, a top Democrat on the Senate Homeland Security Committee, on Tuesday, opened a probe into alleged sanctions violations at crypto exchange Binance. Blumenthal, who represents Connecticut, sent Binance a letter asking about the $1.7 billion allegedly transferred from accounts on the platform to, oh my God, Iran-linked organizations, including Yemen's Houthi militants. The violations were identified by internal Binance investigators who were subsequently dismissed, according to several news reports. The world's largest crypto exchange denied the allegations in an email to CoinDesk. Quote, "The New York Times prior reporting is wrong. Binance has strict KYC and compliance procedures in place, and there are no Iranian users on the platform," a Binance person said in an email. The spokesperson also reiterated the exchange's stance, quote, "against false claims" in these reports, referring to articles by the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, and Fortune magazine about the alleged dismissal of the four investigators involved. Blumenthal sent a letter to Binance's co-chief executive Richard Tang asking for records of the company's dealings with two Hong Kong entities identified by the investigators as the origin of the transfers to Iran, the New York Times said. One of the accounts was registered to Blessed Trust, a Hong Kong company that served as a Binance vendor. According to the newspaper, a Binance representative said that the exchange canceled the accounts and stopped working with Blessed Trust in January. Quote, "Binance appears to have ignored warnings and recommendations to prevent Iranian money," oh, that dirty Iranian money, "laundering schemes on its cryptocurrency exchange," Blumenthal wrote. The lawmaker also asked Tang to hand over records about the suspension and dismissal of compliance staff and investigators who flagged the violations, alleged violations. Let's be clear about that. Binance's founder and former CEO, Changpeng Zhao, pleaded guilty in November 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws. Yes, we know. We get it. So looks like this is turning into a serious set of issues for Binance. Binance in the crosshairs of the United States long arm of justice yet one more time. Oh, what fabulous news that's going to be. So yes, dirty Iranian money. It's, oh my God, those dastardly Iranians. I wonder if they're throwing babies out of their incubators again. Ripping. We've actually heard this. There are stories that are being circulated in Western media that, I don't know, the Iranian Republican Guard or whatever are ripping the wombs of women out of their bodies to hide sexual abuse. Does this even make a lick of sense? I'm going to do a non-surgical hysterectomy on a woman to hide the fact that I may have raped her. What? This is in the news. This is in Western media right fucking now. This is actually I believed the babies being thrown out of their incubators story more than I believe this crap. This is just pretext for war. That's all this crap is. And this Blumenthal thing, this is just them trying to figure out, hey, how can we enforce the Iranian people are bad story? How can we make our case to go drop more Morton Thiokol bombs on these people, or whoever the hell's manufacturing their weaponry at this point? Sure, it's GE and Morton Thiokol and Rockford Fosgate. No, that's right. They make car amplifiers. Whatever. It doesn't matter. You get my drift. It's all bullshit. It's just pure bullshit. And we keep falling for it over and over and over again, just like this complete dipshit guy named Bushrat on Nostr replies to one of my notes where I'm making fun of BIP 110. And that's if you don't know what BIP 110 is for Bitcoin, it's this filtering thing. It goes way deeper than just filtering, but it's like somehow or another BIP 110 is going to save Bitcoin from child pornography or some such shit. So I just literally say, oh my God, look at all the spam in the mempool. And there's like one block, and I add a picture from mempool.space. There's one block with like 4,000 transactions in it waiting to clear. And I'm like, wow, look at all that spam. Oh my God, thank the heavens for BIP 110. This dipshit writes me back and says, if you ignore or deny the core developer pedophiles trying to turn Bitcoin from money into data hosting, you are an enabler. Stop trying to defend pedophiles. If you actually care about Bitcoin, take a stand against core pedos. There's something inherently wrong with this person. If it's a person at all, it could just be a bot. I mean, I'm not outside of the thinking that it could actually just be an AI bot. I hope it is. I really do, because if this was actually a human being that has the same size and weight of brain inside their skull that I do, then it's a humiliation for the human race. Where are you getting pedophilia out of any of this shit? I'm pretty sure that the core devs are not wanting pedophilia in the blockchain. You using that word is the same bullshit thinking that the rest of the Western media has used to initiate war after war after war that has destroyed families, countless trillions of dollars over the years, people's lives, people's futures. You, sir, are nothing but a rat. What the fuck is wrong with this person? I'll tell you, I got 7 things that are wrong with this person. He's delusional. He's hyperbolic. He's hysterical. He's mired in fantasy. He's assumptive. He's presumptive. And he's robotic. This needs to stop. The hyperbolic use of flash words like, oh my God, that means that you're defending pedophiles. Oh my God, you like Trump? You must be a Nazi. Oh my God, you don't like Biden? You must be a Nazi. You didn't vote for Kamala Harris? Then you had to have voted for Trump, and that makes you a Nazi. I didn't vote for Trump. Sure shit didn't vote for Kamala Harris either. No, it's nobody's business who I voted for. To wrap pedophilia around the core development team of Bitcoin is beyond frightening. Now, if this is a 6-year-old little boy, then maybe I'd give him a pass. But I don't know if this person is 6 years old, even though they certainly do act like it. Please, for the love of God, stop embarrassing yourself, bushrat. For these people. Okay, River. Bitcoin adoption hits record levels in 2025 despite the price decline. River has a report out, and this is out of Atlas 21. They published a report documenting how Bitcoin adoption reached record levels in 2025, despite the price of Bitcoin falling 50% from its all-time high. Quote, there is no bear market in Bitcoin adoption, the document states. On the institutional front, institutions accumulated 829,000 Bitcoin in 2025, including purchases by companies, governments, funds, and ETFs. U.S. registered investment advisors have been net buyers of Bitcoin for 8 consecutive quarters, investing approximately $1.5 billion into Bitcoin ETFs every quarter over the past 2 years. 60% of the largest U.S. banks are developing Bitcoin-related products supported by a more favorable regulatory environment that now permits Bitcoin custody. Corporations proved to be the largest buyers of Bitcoin in 2025. Growth was driven in particular by treasury companies, yeah, I know, blah, 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 whose adoption increased 2.5 times over the course of the year. River emphasizes that these institutions represents millions of individuals accessing Bitcoin for the first time through brokerage accounts, pension plans, sovereign wealth funds, and corporate balance sheets. Merchant adoption saw an acceleration in the U.S. The number of businesses accepting Bitcoin as payment tripled, while global growth stood at 74%. Bitcoin payments on the Lightning Network increased by 300% in 2025, and according to River's estimates, the network now processes over $1.1 billion in monthly transaction volume. Let's pause. I got an earful from a guy on Nostr talking about how, well, there's not a whole lot of blocks, in the blockchain. And that's part of that mempool.space screenshot in that BIP 110 thing. This is another guy. He's all right. This guy's all right. He's bringing, at least a salient point. He's like, well, there's no blocks. There's hardly any transactions. This is not good for adoption. This is not good for retail. You're demonstrating something that is kind of bad. And I'm like, have you looked at Lightning Network? What do you think? Where do you think these transactions are being offloaded to? This is what Lightning Network was designed to do. It's like you can't win. It's like, oh my God, the mempool is stuffed with all these transactions and fees are going through the roof. We're all going to die. And now I got one block in the mempool because so many people are using Lightning Network now that it's almost invisible. All these transactions are getting done, but they're not on the main chain, so they don't show up in something like mempool.space. There's one block there, and we're all going to die. We can't win. We can't win. This is exactly what Lightning Network was set out to do. And people said it was never going to do it. Well, here we are. It's doing it. It's taking off so much pressure from the main chain. And now it looks like the main chain is a complete desert. This is not the case. To think about Lightning adoption in the future where there's not, what do they say? There's not $1.1 billion in monthly transaction volume. Let's accelerate that to $1 trillion a year in transaction volume on the Lightning Network. Do you know why that will expand the amount of transactions on the main chain? Because people are going to have to open channels and close channels. And that's where that shit lies. I don't need to pay for my coffee on Bitcoin's main chain. It doesn't actually even make that much sense unless it's, I don't know, secret coffee, something I can't let anybody know about. If I'm just buying a cup of coffee from Starbucks, who cares? Oh, I see you bought coffee. Yeah, I did. I like coffee. Would you like me to buy you a cup of coffee? It doesn't make any sense to put that shit on the main chain. This is an old Roger Ver argument way back in the day in 2017, 2018. I thought we were done with all this, but apparently not. Let's continue. 5 new nation states became Bitcoin holders in 2025. 2 sovereign wealth funds from Luxembourg and Saudi Arabia a central bank from the Czech Republic, plus Brazil and Taiwan. River estimates that a total of 23 nation states now hold Bitcoin through state mining, seizures, or direct central bank exposures. Remember, there is anywhere between 175 and 180 countries on the face of this planet, and 23 of them are involved somehow in Bitcoin. The report also highlights a decline in Bitcoin's volatility. I'm not sure if I agree with this, but whatever, which is approaching that of gold and the S&P 500, a signal, according to River, that the asset is increasingly regarded as a mature asset class. As volatility declines, the threshold for more risk-averse investors lowers, the document reads, and over time, this opens the door to larger pools of capital. River concludes by stating that it expects Bitcoin adoption in the coming years to not only continue its current trend, but to accelerate significantly. So it's not all doom and gloom out there, guys. It really isn't. It's going to be fine. You'll be fine. Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance, however, pushing deeper into tokenization as capital shifts from our good friend Stacey Jones out of decrypt.co. Coinbase, Binance, and Kraken have all announced tokenized products on Tuesday as the trend takes hold among crypto exchanges amid a depressed market and capital rotation into more structured products. Coinbase has teamed up with Yahoo Finance to link crypto tickers and equities on the news site directly to the San Francisco-based crypto exchange, where users can trade them, either the digital asset or the tokenized stock. The company said in a joint press release that it's the first step to integrating Coinbase data more deeply into Yahoo Finance. Kind of a scary thought there. Tokenized real-world assets have continued to grow even as the broader crypto market slides, a divergence that analysts say points to capital rotating into more durable structures rather than exiting the sector altogether. Quote, this partnership addresses a clear shift in investor behavior toward considering digital assets alongside traditional investments, says George Lemur, general manager of Yahoo Finance. Tokenization refers to the process of representing real-world assets such as stocks, bonds, real estate, or money market funds as digital tokens on a blockchain. So that's the definition. These tokens function as on-chain records of ownership, allowing assets to be transferred, traded, or used in decentralized financial applications with the speed and programmability of crypto networks. The total value of the real-world assets using the blockchain as a distribution layer is up nearly 300% year over year, from $6.3 billion on February 25th, 2025 to $25 billion today. That is one hell of a jump. Coinbase said Tuesday, the integration adds further legitimacy to digital assets. Quote, our everything exchange vision is about removing artificial boundaries between asset classes and building for the next generation of markets, the company said in its own press release. Then on the same day, Kraken launched regulated tokenized equity perpetual futures contracts using the X stocks framework. The new perpetual futures contracts will give eligible non-US clients around-the-clock access to tokenized assets with up to 20x leverage. I'm sorry. It just takes me back to the time of BitMEX. Okay, with up to 20x leverage on the Kraken and Kraken Pro platforms. So you have a choice of how to lose your money with leverage, either Kraken Standard or Kraken Pro. Have fun. Quote, regulated tokenized equities as perpetual futures represents a new chapter for global capital markets, Mark Greenberg, Kraken's global head of consumer, said in a press release shared with Decrypt. Quote, one where equities, indices, and commodities trade with the same speed, accessibility, and flexibility as crypto via tokenization, delivering a more robust risk management experience, end quote. Oh, the amount of bullshit. This is where it's going. This is why I'm reading it to you, so you understand what the landscape looks like. It doesn't mean that I'm painting a pretty landscape, but I just don't want you to fall flat on your face because I painted a landscape that, suggested it was really pretty pasture, and really what it was a canyon cliff that you just fell over. So be cautious with all this stuff, y'all. Meanwhile, Binance, who is in trouble, the largest crypto exchange by volume, has started offering its very own tokenized assets through Ondo Finance. Those assets will be available through Binance Alpha, a curated ecosystem that the exchange uses for early stage assets as a precursor to a full exchange listing. The exchange said the tokens grant exposure to the underlying assets, but they do not grant all shareholder rights, such as voting rights. That's going to be a stickler. If I own a share, I should get a vote. If I own 2 shares, I should get 2 votes. It doesn't matter if it's digitally tokenized or not. This is going to be a problem moving forward. I'm sure that they'll figure it all out. But yes, tokenized assets. At least it's not bananas on the blockchain, because that was really stupid. This isn't exactly the smartest move in the world, but it's inevitable. And nobody's going to be able to do anything about it, which is why you should go get clean with my buddy, SoapMiner.com. Go to SoapMiner.com at SoapMiner.com and get yourself some soap. Right now, I am almost at the end of what has become my favorite scent of soap from SoapMiner. At SoapMiner.com, you can pick up a bar of cedarwood tallow soap for $7.50. However, this is the Circle P, where I bring plebs just like you with goods and services to plebs with goods and services that are just like you that want to buy said goods and services, but you will buy it in Bitcoin, because if you're not selling in Bitcoin, you're not in the Circle P. SoapMiner is in the Circle P. Even though he lists it at $7.50 a bar, you're going to be able to pay for it in Satoshis if you so choose on his website, which you find at SoapMiner.com. Make sure you use the coupon code Bitcoin and remember me while you're washing your hands with your beautiful bar of cedarwood tallow soap, because this stuff will get you clean. It is amazing soap, and it's also hand lotion. Here's how you wash your hands with SoapMiner.com. First, turn on the water. Get it to the temperature that you want. Stick one of your hands under the water and get it wet. Pick up the bar of soap and roll it around in that hand for just a little bit, and then put it back down. Then, like you're using lotion, rub your other hand with your wet, soapy hand all the way around. Don't stick it under the water. 10 seconds. Rub it around. Make sure that it gets all over the place, especially the backs of your hands. Then rinse off one of your hands. And then wash your hands again, because you've basically taken half the soap away. So all the dirt and grime and bacteria and stuff that you want to get rid of that flows with a full dose of soap doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to get it all. Sometimes dilution is the solution to your pollution, ladies and gentlemen. So rinse off one of your hands, and then with the other soapy hand, start rubbing again. Now you've got half the strength of the soap. After that, rinse both of your hands off. You will be squeaky clean, and the 100% beef tallow will have made its way into your precious skin and softened it up. That's the way that you should use 100% grass-fed beef tallow soap. Just like you find at SoapMiner.com, be sure to use coupon code Bitcoin, and you will get 10% off of your entire purchase at SoapMiner.com. U.S. Treasury sanctions Russian exploit broker over crypto-funded cyber theft. Ooh, long arm of the law reaching out to bitch slap some dude in Russia. Micah Zimmerman, Bitcoin Magazine. The U.S. Department of the Treasury is sanctioned, oh my God, a Russian exploit brokerage network accused of purchasing stolen U.S. government cyber tools with cryptocurrency and reselling them to unauthorized buyers, marking the first use of new authorities under the Protecting American Intellectual Property Act. In an announcement on Tuesday, the Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control designated Russian national Sergei Sergeyevich Zelenyuk and his company, Operation Zero, along with several associates and affiliated firms. The action blocks any property or interest in property of the designated parties that fall under U.S. jurisdiction and bars U.S. persons from transacting with them. I'm sure that'll stop them. Treasury alleges that Zelenyuk, operating from St. Petersburg, built a business acquiring and selling exploits, tools that take advantage of software vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access to systems or extract data. Could you please use those on the IRS? Please, if you've got to, why is the IRS never attacked? Why are their computer systems that haven't been upgraded since the frickin' 80s? Why do they never get hacked? Why? This is a question I need to have answered for me. If you need to attack somebody, if you need to flex your hacking skills, dude, IRS, just going to say it again, Internal Revenue Systems, put a big old target on it and flex your AI coding muscles and, I don't know, go bitch slap a person. Just saying. Anyway, among the exploits obtained by Operation Zero were at least 8 proprietary cyber tools developed by a U.S. defense contractor for the exclusive use of the U.S. government and, of course, selected allies. Those tools were stolen by Peter Williams, an Australian national and former employee of the contractor. According to the Department of Justice, Williams stole the trade secrets between 2022 and 25 and sold them to Operation Zero in exchange for millions of dollars in cryptocurrency. He pleaded guilty, I guess he was caught, in October of 2025 to 2 counts of theft of trade secrets following an investigation by the Justice Department. He pleaded guilty to the 2 counts of theft of trade secrets following an investigation by the Justice Department and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Okay, there we go. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that the designations reflect a broader effort to protect sensitive American intellectual property and safeguard national security. Quote, "If you steal United States trade secrets, we will hold you accountable," Bessent said. The sanctions were issued pursuant to Executive Order 13694 as amended, which targets malicious cyber-enabled activities that threaten U.S. national security, foreign policy, or economic stability, take a pick. In parallel, the State Department imposed sanctions under the Protecting American Intellectual Property Act, a law that provides for penalties against foreign actors who engage in or benefit from significant theft of U.S. trade secrets when the conduct poses a national security or an economic threat. Zelenyuk and Operation Zero are the first individuals sanctioned under that statute. So congratulations, foam finger number 1, bro. We're number 1. We're number 1. Treasury also designated several associates tied to the network, including Marina Evgenyevna Vasonovich, described as Zelenyuk's assistant. Yeah, I'll bet. And Special Technology Services, LLC, FZ, a United Arab Emirates-based technology firm controlled by Zelenyuk. 2 additional individuals, I'm not even going to try to pronounce these names, were sanctioned for providing material support. Treasury identified one guy as a suspected member of the TrickBot cybercrime group, a malware operation linked to ransomware attacks against United States government agencies and healthcare providers. Yeah, because you can't go after the IRS, but you can sure go after a hospital system. Whatever. Operation Zero advertised bounties worth millions of dollars in crypto for exploits targeting widely used U.S.-built operating systems and encrypted messaging platforms. Treasury said that the firm did not disclose discovered vulnerabilities to affected software companies and instead sought to sell them to customers in non-NATO countries, including foreign intelligence services. And while Treasury stated that crypto facilitated the transactions for the stolen tools, It did not publish specific crypto wallet addresses or impose blockchain specific designations. So we don't know what crypto was involved or how much or the addresses that received those payments. Again, I got to ask, if you can go after a hospital, please reconsider. If you got to be a dick to the Internal Revenue Service. Please, please, please. Let's run the numbers. CNBC futures and commodities, Brent North Sea. Wow. Up a half point to 71.16. West Texas Intermediate is up slightly, 0.14%, 65.72 a barrel. Natural gas also up in the green, 2.3% rise to just under $3 a thousand cubic feet. Gasoline up $1.50 to just over $2 a gallon. And Merbon crude creeping sideways, still in the green, to $70.57 a barrel. Metals are doing well as well. Palladium is up a point. Well, actually, it just dropped 0.87%. Gold is up a point to 52.26 and 4 dimes. Platinum is up 6 2/3. Silver is up 4% to just under $91 an ounce. We're back, baby. Copper is up 0.9%. Ag fully mixed today. Biggest loser is lumber, 1% to the downside. Biggest winner is rough rice, 1% to the upside. Balancing it out there. Live cattle up a half. Lean hogs up a half. Feeder cattle also up a half. The S&P is up 0.7%. NASDAQ burning into the stratosphere, 1.25% to the upside. The Dow is up a half point, and the S&P Mini is up a third. I guess some tech bros released their earnings, and I guess the news was good. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin. Hold on here. I got to. I forgot to actually put that up. I can't believe I forgot to get Clark Moody's dashboard up here. $69,510. That is a $1.39 trillion market cap. We can now purchase 13.3 ounces of our favorite shiny metal rock with our one Bitcoin, of which there are 19,994,529.28 of. And average fees per block are just stale as week-old bread, 0.02 BTC, taken in fees on a per block basis, and there are 10, count them, 10 blocks carrying 16,224 unconfirmed transactions waiting to clear at high priority rates of 2 sats per VByte. Low priority is going to get you in at 0.3. Hash rate? Wow, 1.05 zettahashes per second. The V-shaped recovery on a hash rate continues for the Bitcoin network. If you don't know what hash rate is, all you got to remember is that it's the security behind the Bitcoin network, which is exactly why I don't worry about stuff. All right. From Jeffries AI, which was yesterday's episode of Bitcoin, and I got Jason Hyde with 250 sats, says, that's for the show. And I appreciate it. Nostr Gang with a short row of sticks says, boost. I know exactly what other podcast Nostr Gang is listening to. Tulips. Ooh, a boob boost. Nice. 8008. Not only is it representative of boobies, it is also a palindrome boost from my friend Tulips, who says, sorry for the hiatus, but the German automobile industry shat the bed. Oh, shit. And I lost my job. Hey, y'all, send out good feelings and positive energy to our good friend Tulips. Give him some jobs karma. He said he found a new one in the defense industry, which is on a rampart. I never thought war had a bright side, but apparently it does for us shield and sword manufacturers. It is highly entertaining hearing about this man being had by these women with loyalties to that monster, Frank Epstein. Makes me lose faith in humanity as a whole. I just hope they all rot in hell and suffer as much shame as possible. In other news, I am happy to officially welcome the bear market and the all-you-can-dip momentum. The universe and the ignorant are giving me the opportunity to stack more. Being this late to the game and realizing that I am still earlier than 99% of the planet gives me hope. All the sentiment, bullishness, hopes, and dreams are just tulips, and like everything else, it's all going to zero. P.S. I saw another tulip in the comments, and it made my day. I hope more of us sprout in spring. Oak Grove with 10,000 sats, dude. Thank you. Also, oh wait, he clearly has 2 in a row. Okay, so let me do these first. Nick Dose with 157 sats says cheers. Right back at you, pal. And let's see here. Okay, now we can go to Oak Grove. So Oak Grove's first boost with 1,264 sats says, this one isn't going on nostr. An Argentinian trained an AI on all of Epstein's emails. Think he wanted to introduce it to Mecha Hitler as a question. Also, Gentiles means outsiders. Goyim more specifically means cattle. I would say human cattle, but supremacist-like actors for the nation state of Israel behave like they don't believe other sapiens are humans like them. Well, there's several classes of people in the world that actually think that. So just saying. Oak Grove with the second boost of 10,000 says, also, here's 10,000 sats. Please stop bitching about Sailor forecasting his purchases. His time horizon is so long, he doesn't care about people ripping at his heels. Please stop bitching about the orange man trolling people. He has fought for his freedom, his life, and his presidency, so reaching him to change his rhetoric is a non-starter. Yeah, well, that's no shit. He's never going to listen to me. Work on something you can change, or just discuss these things in a joking manner. Be a man instead of adopting feminine strategies. Oh, come on, Oakster. The fuck, man. Dude. It's a little over the top, man. This isn't a roast. Besides, it's my show. I can bitch about Orange Man all I want. But if you really wanted to hear me bitch, then you should have been listening to me while Biden was in the presidency. All these guys suck. Just because, again, this is that thing. It's like, just because you hate my guy means you love everything that I hate. Well, I don't even hate Trump. Is he a narcissist? Yeah. That's how he got a lot of his money. By not literally giving a shit. This is one of the ways that people get money. You kind of have to be a little bit narcissistic to do that. It's not that I begrudge him that. I'm just saying you got to call a spade a spade. But just because it's not that I don't hate him, but I also don't like him. And as far as Sailor is concerned, he's not going to listen to me either, but I can say what I want to say. And like when we put gates on each other's mouths by, bitch slapping them a little bit, like Oak Grove is bitch slapping me a little bit, which is fine. Hell, I appreciate it. It gives me something to talk about. But then we're kind of not doing the thing that humans should be doing, where we're like amplifying each other, even if it's the not your message, right? Now, if it's a message that is completely antithetical to your morality and your ethical base, then yeah, sure, don't amplify it. But you're amplifying, like I am expressing free speech, and you're expressing free speech there, Oak Grove. And I want to be able to amplify the fact that you are expressing yourself in a way that is kind of bitch slapping me, and I'm fine with it because you also get to say what you need to say. Of course, then again, you also paid 10,000 sats for it, so there you go. But it doesn't matter. I love you all the same, Mr. Oak Grove. And oak trees happen to be my favorite kind of tree. Just actually saying. Let's see, is that it? I think that's it. Yeah, that is the weather report. Welcome to part 2 of the news that you can use. Mark Zuckerberg's Meta is planning stablecoin comeback in the second half of this year. Oh, joy. Ian Allison out of CoinDesk is going to tell us all about the Markster. Meta The U.S. tech giant helmed by Facebook creator Mark Zuckerberg is aiming to enter the stablecoin space later this year, pending successful integration with a third-party firm to facilitate payments using the dollar-pegged token technology, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. The tech giant, which owns Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, and has more than, 3 billion users, which is fully 1/3 of the global population. Let's just be clear about that. They want to begin its stablecoin integration early in the second half of this year, said one of the people, who spoke, of course, on condition of anonymity because the plans are not public. Yeah, that's why we leaked them. Meta is planning to integrate a vendor to help administer stablecoin-backed payments and implement a new wallet, the person said. A second person said that Meta had sent out a request for product, an RFP, to third-party firms and mentioned Stripe as a likely candidate for piloting Meta's stablecoin. Stripe, which acquired stablecoin specialist Bridge last year, is a longtime partner of Meta, and Stripe CEO Patrick Collison joined Meta's board of directors in April of last year. Meta, Stripe, and Bridge were approached for comment. None responded. Meta introduced stablecoins would let it open payment rails to its massive user base while bypassing expensive traditional banking fees and potentially position it as a global leader in social commerce and cross-border remittances. The move would also put the tech giant in direct competition with the likes of Elon Musk's social media platform X, as well as messaging platform Telegram, both of which are aiming to bring payments in-house by becoming super apps. This was one of the original goals for the planned Libra project, allowing the social media company to tap its vast networks, including WhatsApp's peer-to-peer messaging service and Facebook and Instagram's network and commerce tools for payments. Meta famously tried to introduce the Libra stablecoin, later renamed it Diem in 2019, only to face such strong headwinds due to less than favorable regulatory climate that they just kind of shut it down. And that just started a whole bunch of other shit. So at this point, they just get into the regulatory stuff of the Genius Act. What's notable is that you're talking about bringing stablecoin payments to 1/3 of the world's population. Not that all of them will use it. Most of them probably won't, but much of them will. And there's something to be said about this being onboarding to Bitcoin. Because the thing about stablecoin is that while it shares some of the functionality of Bitcoin insofar that some of these coins, they can be held, self-sovereignly. You can verify transactions. You can do a lot of that stuff, but you can't control the money printing action of it. And as Tether and Circle and anybody else that wants to peg their shit to the US dollar, they're going to buy US Treasury bonds. Again, it is a way to export United States debt to the rest of the world. And the world still wants dollars. And by God, we just found out a way to not only give them what they want, but to export what we don't want. The ability to print money at will without significantly in the near and medium term affect the voters of the United States of America. Because if you can delay the reaction, the inevitable chickens coming home to roost, if you can delay their return to the nest by 10 years, it's going to look good for you, man. Even though you got exactly what you wanted, and you did it by providing the rest of the world with what they want, dollars, then when the chickens come home to roost at the United States public's expense, which is what'll happen, well, you've got some lead time to, retire or do whatever the hell you want. And now Mark Zuckerberg and his 3 billion users are going to be right there in the fray. It's stablecoin summer, or at least that's probably what we will notice coming this summer, because Stripe makes a tender offer at $159 billion valuation. This is our second part of what is becoming the stablecoin second half of show, decrypt.co. There's a lot of stablecoin news, and I'm not telling you to go dive into stablecoins. I'm saying be aware of what's going on. Logan Hitchcock is writing this one, and he says payment giant Stripe is offering to repurchase shares from current and former employees through a tender offer that values the firm at $159 billion. It comes amid surging stablecoin volumes and $1.9 trillion in business volume generated via its platform. The firm announced this yesterday. The tender offer is primarily funded by the firm's investors like A16Z and Thrive Capital, though it will use some of its own funds to buy back shares. The valuation puts the firm in the range of consumer product giant Unilever and pharmaceuticals firm Pfizer, which trade around $163 and $154 billion respectively. Jesus. At its current mark, the privately held payments company is valued just behind banking giant Charles Schwab. Quote, our programmable financial services now power more than 5 million businesses directly or via platforms including all of the top AI companies, many of the largest blue chip companies, most of the largest technological companies, and a significant fraction of freshly minted startups. It's got that new car smell. While the company highlighted the uptick in business volumes around 34% year over year, its founders gave significant space to stablecoins in their annual letter, noting the sector's doubled payments volume last year, around $390 billion worth in total. Stripe's own stablecoin orchestration platform, Bridge, saw volume more than quadruple last year, according to the company. Stripe completed its acquisition of Bridge for $1.1 billion last year and was granted a national bank trust charter from the OCC last week to boost its stablecoin offerings. Quote, it may be a crypto winter, but it's a stablecoin summer, the Collison brothers wrote. Quote, stablecoin payments are advancing quietly and inexorably as real-world uptake continues apace, end quote. In addition to its Bridge acquisition, the company also announced plans last year to develop its own stablecoin-focused blockchain named Tempo, together with crypto venture firm Paradigm. The network, which remains in testnet, has already welcomed major firms like Visa, Nubank, and Shopify, who are already testing Tempo for a number of use cases, including global payouts, embedded finance, and remittances, the company letter noted. That's the end of the article. Oh my God, if you have bank stocks or stock in equities in Visa, MasterCard, you need to be on the horn with, I don't know, whoever handles your selling stock and say, I want you to be prepared to sell all of my financial shit in a heartbeat, because this is a complete banking sector destructor. It used to be the case that companies had to have a bank to be able to do this, but now the companies themselves are getting banking licenses and they're enabled with this technology. And it's the same technology that we use with Bitcoin. It's just been bastardized and relabeled into stablecoin. All right, it does not make it not fiat currency. It is very much all fiat currency. And everything that goes along with fiat currency is embedded inside the very deepest tranches of that which is stablecoin. Make no mistake. However, this is why the banking industry is fighting so hard, lobbying so intensely to make sure that if they can only get stablecoin companies and banks to not offer yield on stablecoin, then they'll be all right. If these new banks that are coming up are not allowed to offer yield on stablecoin, then the old guard will have, I don't know, a continued seat at the table. The writing is on the wall for these people. Wells Fargo is going to go away, probably not by name, but by volume, by the amount of depositors. They are going to be a shade of what their former self used to look like. Same with Bank of America. Same with Goldman Sachs. Charles Schwab. All of them are going away. And they're going to be replaced by just as evil people. To make no mistake, just because they're all going to be replaced does not mean that the attitude will be exactly the same. And they won't care about people, and they won't give a shit. They'll just walk over everything. They'll make a play for buying every single family home there in the world so that nobody can actually live in them, that you're forced to pay rent for the rest. It'll be the same attitude, but it will be a different structure. But in the interim, as this changeover takes place, which will be complete by the time I even think about going 6 feet under in this world, you could do something. You can play on this to figure out a way to make money, or you can do your own start, whatever it is that you're going to do. This churn is what people starting businesses fucking live for, man. It's amazing to watch this happen in my lifetime, because we're not done. Tether takes a stake in Whop as platform adopts WDK for stablecoin creator payouts. Oh boy, this is the block, and it is written by none other than Brian Danga. Tether Investments has taken a strategic stake in Whop.com, an online marketplace that facilitates approximately $3 billion in annual payouts to more than 18.4 million users across 144 countries. As part of the deal, Whop will integrate Tether's wallet development kit to process stablecoin payments, giving creators and users the option to settle transactions in USDT or the recently launched USAT, a made in America digital dollar. The funding will support Whop's expansion into Latin America, Europe, and the Asian Pacific, while introducing AI tools designed for agentic income opportunities, the company said on Wednesday. Say it again. Agentic income opportunities. Oh joy, just yay. Per the statement, the partnership connects Whop's global network to Tether's infrastructure, enabling faster dollar settlements for creators in markets where traditional payment systems introduce friction and cost. Whop, W-H-O-P, which describes itself as the world's largest internet market, said it processes gross transaction volumes that is increasing roughly 25% every month. Tether noted that the WDK integration also positions Whop to offer decentralized finance primitives, including lending and borrowing features, effectively establishing a self-custodial digital banking layer for its own community. What did I just get finished saying? Companies themselves have all the ability to be their own bank, and now, at least in the United States and in other places around the world, they're getting banking licenses. This does not look good for Jamie Dimon. Just saying. Quote, our investment in Whop proudly reflects Tether's focus on supporting real economic activity by providing efficient digital dollar and wallet infrastructure that can scale to billions of people across every continent. And that was CEO Paolo Ardoino, who continued by saying, quote, integrating Tether's wallet development kit, Whop can offer users faster global payments and more reliable financial tools, driving growth, individual, family, and community self-sufficiency, as well as financial inclusion. The investment comes as Tether maintains a dominant position in the stablecoin market, which has reached a total dollar-denominated supply of $293 billion, according to the block's data dashboard. Tether's USDT accounts for $183 billion of that total, representing 62.4% market share. This scale is translated into significant liquid reserves. The company reported that its U.S. Treasury holdings reached a record $122 billion in 2025. During that fiscal year, Tether recorded its second largest annual issuance in history, adding more than $50 billion in brand spanking new USDT to the circulating supply. Do you see how that worked? They reached a record holding of U.S. Treasury. Okay, that's debt. The United States, through the Treasury Department, printed debt instrumentation, which Tether bought. And the minute that they did that, they produced 50 billion brand spanking new Tethers. And since they're pegged to the dollar, just think of it as printing $50 billion. Compare that to the very first stages of everybody getting bailed out after 9/11, because there was some serious money printing going on after 9/11, and the very first stages of the great financial crisis. $50 billion in print is nothing to sneeze at, except it wasn't printed directly for consumption by the U.S. government. It was printed at this point by the good folks over at Tether. This will continue until morale improves, I guess. Financial attestations from independent accounting firm BDO indicate that Tether generated more than $10 billion in net profit for the 2025 fiscal year. While this figure is an actual decrease from the $13 billion reported in 24, the company's excess reserves grew to $6.3 billion, with total assets backing USDT rising to $193 billion. These profits have funded aggressive expansions of Tether's operational footprint. The company plans to increase its workforce by a whopping 150 employees. I think they have like 100 now. And that's over the next 18 months, bringing its total headcount to approximately 450 people. So they have 300 employees, and they generated $10 billion in net profit last year with 300 people. Dave's Cave sounding pretty good right about now. I'll throw the Hermitage in for free. Earlier this month, Tether invested in Layer Zero Labs, the interoperability firm behind the technology used for USDTO, Tether's Omni-chain stablecoin, and that followed an investment in Dreamcash, a mobile front end for hyperliquid decentralized exchange, supporting the launch of USDTO collateralized perpetual markets for assets including Tesla, Nvidia, gold, and the S&P 500 index. Oh my God. This company is just, it's amazing how fast they're growing. It's like a malignancy. And it may not, generally speaking, a malignancy is not good. I don't know. If I was a friend of Paolo's, Arduino's, had beer with him like every weekend, like, I don't know, if he had kids, knew his kids and shit, I'd have a much better handle on whether or not this shit's good or bad. So right now I got to remain neutral. Let's move to Gaza. And Oak Grove, this one's for you. Trump's Board of Peace explores stablecoin for digital payments. Woohoo! Trump, it's Orange Man. The Board of Peace, the initiative overseen by President Donald Trump with the goal of rebuilding the Middle East, is exploring the creation of a dollar-pegged stablecoin intended for the Gaza Strip. The news was reported by the Financial Times, citing 5 people familiar with the discussions, which are still in their early stages. According to one of the sources cited by the Financial Times, the stablecoin would serve as a tool to enable Gazan residents to carry out digital transactions. The backdrop is a severe humanitarian crisis. Access to cash in the Strip is extremely limited, with ATMs destroyed or out of service and Israel blocking new supplies of physical cash. This situation has pushed the population toward digital transactions. That could be on purpose. Leading the stablecoin project is Liran Tankman, an Israeli tech entrepreneur alongside the National Committee of the Administration of Gaza, and other parties. During the Board of Peace's inaugural meeting held last week in D.C., Tankman stated that the NCAG was working on building a, quote, secure digital backbone, an open platform enabling electronic payments, financial services, e-learning, and healthcare with, of course, user-controlled data. The Board of Peace was launched last month as a coalition of entities organizing outside the United States or outside of the United Nations. Membership is by invitation only. Oh my God. There's an entry fee. You not only do you have to wait by your mailbox for an invitation to be part of the Board of Peace, but then you've got to pay $1 billion. The group is, of course, chaired by President Donald Trump and led in part by his son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Okay. This man is one of the most entertaining individuals in the world. This timeline is beyond anything, any of my wildest imaginings that I would have ever thought I would have seen coming out of, elementary school, high school, college, whatever. Right? I would have never thought in a million years I'd see something like this. I hate to laugh because real people's lives are on the line here, but we kind of knew this was going to happen. I didn't really know that they would be kind of cranking out their own stablecoin to do it, but it tracks with everything else that's been done. And what am I talking about? The complete raising of, well, essentially the Gaza Strip, which has always, it's not like Trump hasn't said, and he said this. Gaza would make the the Mediterranean, I don't know what did he say? The Abu Dhabi of the Mediterranean, or some like party town, just the Paris of the Mediterranean. I don't know, whatever, like resorts and hotels. He's actually said this. This is a terrible state of affairs. And this is where we get the whole notion that Israel controls the United States. A, no, they don't. B, they don't need to. This kind of crap goes on all over the place. I think this is actually what's happening to San Francisco. Prices and housing got so high, people started moving out, tax base flees. All of a sudden, the city goes to shit because all their tax base is left. They got no money to repair stuff. It gets inundated with homeless. And then the next thing you know, property values start to plummet. The problem is that globally, we've got a problem with housing and housing prices. So even commercial real estate isn't as affected as it should be and hasn't gone to zero, or at least, a few steps above zero. Still, the plan would be this. You make sure that housing costs a shit ton to the point, and you tax the fuck out of people to the point that they leave. You lose your tax base. You stop taking care of shit. Homeless move in. You don't really fight to move them back out. Home prices plummet, and developers can step in and buy it at a song. This is the long-term plan of a whole bunch of stuff. It ain't just Gaza. It's not just, San Francisco. This is one of the ways that the new way of thinking when it comes to real estate happens. And I think it's sad. And, but Trump thinks like a real estate developer. How can he not think like a real estate developer? He's a real estate developer. That's how he made all his money. He knows how to be he's actually a very competent real estate developer. How do I know this? Because he's on fire rich. And for all of those people that say, yeah, well, he had to declare bankruptcy. Do you know how many times billionaires declare bankruptcy, not on themselves, but on several segments of their business so that they don't have to pay taxes? It's how they get rich. It's not a definition of, clearly they're incompetent. And I get this from people that I know all the time about Trump. Again, I don't hate him. I don't like him. I'm neutral on the guy. But one thing that is clear is I get miffed when people start talking about that Trump's an idiot, and he is an idiot because he had to file bankruptcy. Apparently, he's only ever filed bankruptcy once. This is not true. He's filed bankruptcy several times because that's how you close down a unit without and being able to get out from underneath a bunch of debt that you don't want to pay so that you can keep the money. It's legal. People do this shit all the time. But somehow or another, this equates to you're a crappy businessman, even though I look at pictures of Mar-a-Lago and go, that looks expensive. But I can't imagine paying $1 billion to being on the Board of Peace. Got to wait for an invitation and then pay $1 billion. Wow, I want to be in on that racket, dude. Okay, so it's Wednesday. It's hump day. Who knows what the hell's going on out in the world. I've heard yet more rumors of war against Iran. And of course, by this weekend is the language being used in Western media. So that means maybe Friday after Wall Street closes its doors. What are these people going to do when they get 24/7, 365 trading? They won't be able to wait until the weekend to commit war so that you give people a little bit of pressure release valve over the weekend and, let cooler heads prevail so you don't immediately dump on Monday morning. They won't be able to do that shit anymore. But looking forward to it, and I guess the energy markets are thinking that may be a possibility considering everything is in the green right now. But hey, it is what it is, and I'll see you on the other side.
This has been Bitcoin and I'm your host, David Bennett. I hope you enjoyed today's episode and hope to see you again real soon. Have a great day.